What's the founding story? Like, how did it get started?
From the beginning of last year, I had this in my mind, there should be a community in India or of Indian webflows, because there were few things. First thing is no events are in our time zone. The events are actually happening in mostly EST time zone, and everything webflows live stream happens which is pretty late for our time and everything. And I thought that can be a thing. And second thing was, because India is so diverse, there are almost 400 languages spoken across the India, and it's huge. People actually don't understand the scale of this country. People think it's like a small country. No, even if I go to northern side of India, I will feel that I came to a different country being in my own country. That's how the scale is. I actually had this thing in my mind. And
that's because of the way that we see the world map, the traditional view of the world map.
No, it's
that is every country north of the center is represented much larger than it actually is. And because India is sort of in the middle of the world, there's its size, it's representative of size. So any country you see on a map, in Africa or South America, they are fairly that size. But then every country you see above that is like Russia is not as large as it looks on the map. It's massive, but it's not
that large.
8 times that large. Same for Canada, or even Greenland, which looks massive on a map. It's
so we cannot compare it on a relative scale. Relatively, it has very different scales.
Countries are very different size, and India is one that is really massive.
And every state has their own language, own culture. Everything is different. So
Jazz says they have countries within the country.
I guess he is stating my point, which I spoke.
Even it is called the Indian subcontinent, right? So it's a continent on itself.
I had these points in my mind, and then what I did, I started getting in touch with few of the prominent Webflow people. There was Anish, there was Harshit, and few of different people. I started meeting with them, and I presented them with the idea of starting the community. We took a bit of time. We actually had a couple of meetings on how to start, and what all things to do. And then with 5 founding members, we started the Desiflow community last year, and we started with Slack and Twitter. From there, we started growing that.
We have our own Spanish-speaking community. It's called Webflow Cafe, which was founded by Edgar Allan, because we have 6 people here in Argentina, and then one guy in Spain, and then a woman in Peru, and then that's I think about it. So we're maybe 10 people that speak Spanish in Edgar Allan. And Florencia, she's Flor and Felix, they are the 2 founders of Webflow Cafe, and it was sort of backed by Edgar Allan in a way, right? So we had that sort of nice starting point. And it's so interesting. We have a Discord channel and a Twitter account also, and we do weekly streams too. It's just so interesting to me when new people come in, entirely someone you don't know who they are. They're not known by anyone else in the community, and they're just a person that started using Webflow. The other day, a girl joined, and she just wrote to me on Twitter, and she was like, "Hey, I'm super new at Webflow. I have no idea, but I see you speak Spanish. Can we meet? And you can kind of tell me what's what to do." I was of course, but also join our Webflow Discord community. And so she joined, and she's like, "Hi everyone, I'm super new," and we have 200 members too, similar to Desiflow. And then everyone just jumps in, and it's "Yeah, of course I can meet for a coffee. If you live in whatever you live, if I live in your same city, I can meet with you." Or, we can do an online Google Hangout. And so I met with her yesterday, and we chatted for 40 minutes. And it's for me, it's really lovely to just see new people that are completely new, and that they already have a place where they know that there's people they can trust and learn and just ask anything, any question they have. And it's sort of a safe place where they can, grow and just help the community, thrive.
Yes.
Does that happen for you in this?
Yeah. Yeah, it happens a lot. Like we have like similar stories. And it also like, because whatever advice you see on like find on YouTube, you find on like Twitter, are like specified at like mostly a US market, where
Yeah.
people just post about their experiences.
Yeah.
Coming from like kind of sort of background we are coming in, we have very specific challenges here, we have very specific things and like issues we have. So like since we started this community, personally it has helped me a lot. And then other people, like we discussed about like many issues which are not commonly discussed, regarding the tax system, like how
Mm.
should we manage those, how should we do the taxes, how should we receive the payments, because that's a difficult part sometimes. Like uh, Indian government has like very different rules for receiving money
Yeah.
outside the India. So we actually brought in like uh, what do you say, we call them a CA, chartered accountant. So
Mm.
the person who knows, has a knowledge about all the
Yeah.
tax system and everything. So we brought him for a session. He gave us information about that. People are actually like getting in contact with each other, doing collaborating on projects, referring projects to me, or like projects to like all the people. I'm referring few people for a project. I actually like reached out by few companies for full-time jobs, and I
Mm.
referred few members. I just tell them like we have this community, and if you
Yeah.
want I can just post the job there.
Yeah.
So that has the collaborative environment is actually like going on. And yeah.
Yeah, I love that, man, and it's that importance of like localization of things, right? Because like you said, and of course, like the Desiflow community is not only Indian, like you said, also Pakistani and Bengali, and what else? What are the
Yeah, Sri
countries?
Lanka, Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka. Okay, so I need to add the flag here to this little thing
Yeah,
here. Sri Lanka. There we go. That's more representative of what we're saying. So, and it's the same here for Waflo Cafe, right? It's like we have people in Argentina, we have people in Chile, we have people in Colombia, we have people in Peru, we have people in Spain, in Mexico, and Ecuador, like whatever. There's so many in
yeah,
Spanish-speaking countries, right? And even people like this girl that I chatted yesterday, she's from Brazil, but she speaks Spanish too. And
yeah.
there's no like strong Portuguese or Brazilian community. So
Community.
she kind of joined our community because she knows Spanish, right? So, there's like, it's so valuable because the things you mentioned, like taxation, like how do you, what
Yeah,
platforms do you use to receive payments from the US, from Europe, from like if you're from Argentina, how do you get receive payments from Chile, how do you, and it's like all those things, like just payments, and also like dealing with how do you present the Webflow pricing to clients, because for
yes,
countries that are not US, it is fairly expensive compared to other alternatives. So what are some strategies to kind of present that in a way that it is like that you can kind of convince the client and show them like why it is valuable, and having those conversations that are not like global, it's awesome, right? Because although the Webflow team has done a great job in building a community that is like really inclusive, it's
yeah,
just in English, right? So if
yeah,
you don't speak a lot of English, or you have questions that are outside of the US scope, you're kind of left hanging, and it's
yeah,
not like, it's not a critique, it's just what it is, right? So
yeah,
you need to have these other secondary, more specific communities, and I love that you have built that, man, and I love that you had that idea and that it's going great.